Good morning, hobby world.
Good morning, Val.
How you doing, Chris?
All right. Just so everybody knows, I'm actually wasn't scheduled to be on this week. I'm pinch hitting for another Chris who you may have heard of has gotten a new job, and that employer will not no longer allow him to be on Hobby Hotline. So Chris Carlin, formerly of Upper Deck, is now at the parent company of PSA, and we wish him well.
Yeah, congratulations, Chris. I know he was instrumental, or with customer service at Upper Deck. So,
Yeah, he's one of the few guys in the hobby. You could probably count him on maybe one hand that I've never heard anybody say a bad word about. So good pickup for PSA there. So
yeah, it's a great free agent pickup. Bear with me, everybody. Trying to get everything set up in the chat.
yeah, we are
Links.
winging it this week. So you have been warned.
Yeah.
Hi to 1 million Cubs. Hi to that 70s card show. We could, if you guys could really do us a favor this week, we could really use some callers. Just saying. So
Yeah, we'd love to
link
have
is in the
folks on
chat.
the show.
Give us
Yep,
a call.
I put that on there. All right, let me get this tickers here going. So this hobby hotline, I can't believe it, 134.
Yeah.
And the link is there in the chat, as well as the banner going across the screen. Yeah, if you want to come on, you don't have to be video. You can choose to just do audio or whatever. So, let's see. 70 shows out of dimes. He's gonna be the comic relief, I think, this morning. So I was on a show. He had a great. We were talking. Chris, I don't know if you want to, but talking about the postal. Um, the person had stole all the packages, whatever, and gotten caught or whatever it was, and said the postal worker had a really good collection of cards. Whatever. It was quite funny at the moment. So
I'm sure that postal worker did. So
yep. So topics for today. I think something's going on in Las Vegas.
yeah.
No race. That was.
Let's talk about something that happened Thursday night. Have you heard? Did you hear about this $1 million break?
I didn't even know it was going on, but I did hear about the fallout about
Yeah.
it. So
All I got to say about that is I personally was not offended by the bikini girls. Okay. I'm a guy. All right. I do realize that there are some others that would be. As far as I'm concerned, here's what I think about what I thought about that $1 million break. Let's imagine that I'm a man or woman in my 30s or 40s who collected as a kid and has been hearing that baseball cards are cool again. And they kind of stumble on this, on what happened Thursday night. Is this going to make people say, I want a part of that? I don't think so. I think this was really, and I'm going to say this as a collector. If this is the future of the hobby, a hobby that I've been a part of for 35 years, then maybe this is something that maybe I don't want to be part of. I don't know about you, but that's just me. Again, I'm a guy. I personally wasn't offended by the bikini models. But I also have to say, why even have that in the first place?
Yeah, I mean,
What say
I,
you, Val?
so wasn't really prepared to talk about that. I knew it was going to come up, but really, so because this is being broadcast, it's going out. But in Las Vegas, if you've been to Las Vegas, I don't think
Yeah,
necessarily the bikini models or the showgirls, would have been better if they were showgirls instead of the bikini models. I mean, and again, this is not the $3 table. Um,
yeah. This
this is
isn't
a
the
high
nickel
roller,
slots.
right? So this is the high roller. This was the buy-in 40,000 a piece, or was that the total?
40,000, I believe, for a
Okay,
team.
so um, I'm a NASCAR guy. I think you can buy every NASCAR card for 40 grand. So, let alone, and National Treasure is like $400 a box. So that's the most expensive we go. Eh, So again, in Vegas and the high dollar where you have, Texas Hold'em, right? With the $1 million,
Yeah,
multi-million dollar
the World
pots and
Series
stuff.
of Poker. Yeah,
Yeah. So, and I think the showgirls have always been synonymous with Vegas,
yeah,
even though these were bikini models. So, I want to respect they're trying to go high end to show, it's Vegas and you have these massive uh, buy-ins or whatever it is, and then you have, you know, a card break. So,
yeah,
to your point though, yeah, if this is as a NASCAR guy, as this is the way the hobby's going, that's not me either. I know NASCAR always had like the beauty pageant winner, whatever, in Victory Lane years ago. Then they went, when Monster Energy supported or sponsored the division, they had the Monster Girls there. So they've kind of winged some of that down, but it's not needed. And I know they were
yeah,
trying to go Vegas on it, but they should have had the showgirls or something instead of bikini models. But
yeah.
and it kind of looked, and I don't know who put it on, so I don't know who I'm offending or whatever, but it looked kind of low to me anyway.
Kind of low rent.
Yeah, for 40
Yeah,
grand, I expected a lot
I
more blitz
expected a
and
little
glamour.
more than. I mean, if you're going to go all out, go
Yeah,
all out.
it was like, one of these breakers trying to, do something that's kind of not
Well,
in their
we're
wheelhouse.
certainly talking about this breaker that I'm not going to talk about, but there's a saying: there's no such thing as bad publicity. We're talking about it, so
Yeah, well,
you won.
it's kind of like when I was on, I guess this last time we had the guys who were going to give away the contents of the box, and then they hit that massive kaboom, and then they decided they were going to,
Yeah,
do something else. And
it
so
was
again,
something.
to your point, I don't even know who it is. So, and I'm not going to, mention these breakers either. But again, I didn't watch it. I only saw the aftermath on Twitter. But as a racing guy, like I said, that's way out of my price range. Uh, Luckily, and don't tell anybody, NASCAR is still super affordable compared to the other sports. So hopefully to keep it like that.
Yeah, Long Fly Ball has a comment. Nobody who actually lives in Vegas does the crap that tourists think is quote unquote Vegas. And it's something that Kevin Williamson of National Review said. He went to Vegas a couple of years ago to report on the Adult Video News Awards, and that there's a difference between Las Vegas, the place, and what he calls Vegas Baby. And Vegas Baby is really a state of mind of, you know, tits, glitz, and Wayne Newton. That's the kind of image of Las Vegas that most of us that have never been to Las Vegas um, have. And I guess they were trying to appeal to that demographic, to that.
Right. So they have
Yeah.
people have a preconceived notion of Vegas through marketing for how many 50 years or whatever it is.
Well,
So
yeah, you've seen those commercials. What
yeah,
happens in Vegas?
right. And
Days and
I
days.
I've been to Vegas twice, and um, they actually tried to move away from that image and go more family back in the '90s, mid '90s, and then got back away from it to the whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, we do have a caller.
Yeah, all
It's
right.
Kevin Jones. Kevin, how have you been?
Hey, good morning, everybody. It has been a long time since I've hopped on. Still watching almost every Saturday and occasionally on Tuesdays, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
I just wanted to chime in. I actually watched most of the break on and off on Thursday night. I didn't know it was happening either, but caught wind of it early.
Was it a
And
40,000 buy-in?
what's that?
Was it a 40,000 per team buy-in?
Yeah, I
Or
think it was a 40,000 per case buy-in,
okay.
and then it was randomized, like the people that yeah. I think it was like a 1,500 is what it
Per
came out to, like
team, per
per
case.
team per
Okay.
case.
Okay.
But so I think a lot of people are kind of you know locked in on like the models that were there, which I think they're kind of losing the forest for the trees. Like um the models, I kind of have made a joke the last day or so that they were probably the most professional thing about this break. The two women that were there, like they came, they did like what they were supposed to do. And they left about halfway through. They did their 3 hours or whatever. But I think the problems that I saw with this break, um, as it went on, as it really exposed the break concept in general to me, in that what the house always wins. So it was unbelievably appropriate that this world's biggest break, was held in Vegas, I feel like. And it really shows, I mean, the cards that were coming out, it was kind of brutal. It was very brutal. And I think the production value of it was terrible, which was something where I know it was thrown together on the fly, but the production value of this break was absolutely terrible. The audio was really bad at times. Things were going in and out of focus. Cards were going off screen. And then it just really, because of the whole Vegas thing, kind of devolved as the night went on, due to being in Vegas and probably being a little overexcited. So by the last probably 4 or 5 cases, I mean, it was a complete disaster.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. I think
Chris is frozen there. He
Chris
looks
is
pretty
so
funny
excited.
right now.
But
But it was a total disaster, and I think what irritated me the most was they were starting to knock sponsors. They were starting to knock the hits the perceived hits. Um, and if I was a sponsor tied to that, I would be pretty furious because of the shoddy production value, the non-professional nature of the people involved, as it was devolving as the break went on, the length of it. I mean, this should have been like bang, 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 bang. Like, let's take the time, let's look at the cards, but like, let's keep rolling here. Like, as Chris said, if you're some random person, celebrity, whatever, like Drake's like, oh, you got to check this out or whatever, check this flaw. I'd be like, oh my God, like, I don't want
what a
anything.
bunch of losers. I don't
Well,
want to spend
not,
my money on this.
I don't know either of the people really involved with it. But if I was just some person tuning in, I'd be like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, really? So I don't know. A lot of people are stuck on the model thing. And as I joke, they were the most professional aspect of it all. They did their job, they did what they were supposed to do. And, they left. But
that's what
there were
I was.
so many more issues with it.
That's what I was curious about. Because actually, before the show, I was talking with Chris about that. the amount of money that was spent on that break, and what was coming out of it, and somebody called the police because they got robbed. um, so so was this part of the Mint package collective? Was this associated with
I
them?
don't
So
know. My
yeah,
guess is they were probably in town for
okay.
but
It
I don't think
was
that I don't know if it was tied to that or not. But yeah, I would have, with the money being spent, you ramp up the production value, and there was just no pacing to it. I mean, it was it. But you know what? The people are going to still buy into these breaks and flush their money and get their dopamine. They need their dopamine hits. So it's not like this is a weather the storm for 24 to 48 hours, and then everybody's going to be back buying into these breaks again.
Here's
Well,
10 grand. Put me in another break.
Well,
Yeah.
They're at a
Vegas,
blackjack table or something.
it's high risk, high reward, right? You can go to play the penny slots, or you can play the $10 slots or $100 slots. So again, this is the $100 slots, and sometimes there's winners and there's losers, and I think Kevin, you said the house always wins. So
yeah. I mean, I saw some nice cards, as they were being revealed. I like Bill Walton. I don't really follow the flawless product. That's not a product for me. I'm really a vintage guy, but seeing a Bill Walton auto, a nice auto, I went and looked. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like $150 card. It's cool. Couple other retired players that I saw in there. Yeah, it's just I'm not really. I think I've participated in about 4 or 5 breaks over my lifetime too, and nothing of really. I think the most I've ever spent on a break was probably about $100. So, and then I get the cards, and I'm like, what is all this? So.
yeah, that's part of it,
What am I
right? So
supposed to do with all this?
well, then that's the other thing. You're in a random, and it might not be anybody you collect or do. So that I'm not a big break person just for that. I've joined a few, but you get the cards, and yeah, maybe you get the value or not or whatever. But it's like, I'm not a big seller, so it's like, what do I do with them? I just put them in the drawer or whatever, put them in the protectors and put them in the closet. So.
Yeah, but I just wanted to come on quick and kind of shed my perspective on it. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm gonna probably get back to making some breakfast and listening to you guys. But yeah, I think don't get lost on the models. It's more of just how everything else unfolded with this.
Yeah, the antics as well.
What's that?
The antics of the breakers as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty boorish there the last probably hour and a half. Yeah.
How long did it go on for?
It went like 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And you figure it should really take, I would think about, if you're taking your time with the cards in there, maybe 2 minutes a case, 3 minutes a case, maybe, like for the suitcase. But it was just, I mean, and you've got to do the randomizing, and Leighton, I think, was doing the randomizing, and they were like on top of it and doing a really good job with that and trying to keep it going. But it was just, it's just one of those things, it just was, for the scope and the magnitude of it, it should have just been handled much differently.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Thank you.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Right, Val, you're on your own.
Yeah. Actually, we do have a caller here.
All right.
So, but Kevin, thank you. Yep. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Yeah. All right, you're live.
What's up, Val? What's up, Hobby Hotline? What's up, everybody? How y'all going on? What's up? At a card show day today, so having a blast.
Yeah, a lot of card shows today. Vegas, and A lot of folks busy, so me and Chris are
Man
manning
in
the
it.
fort. Yep. A
So I
lot
thought
of
I'd call
how is
in
the show
and
there? Looks like a small show.
I yeah, it's a small show. It's a small show. It's still early, man. It's still early. It's a little slow, but there's a whole bunch of cowboy autographs later on and coming up about 1 o'clock. So I'm sure it'll be popping then. But I'm sitting here chatting and just having a blast. I'm probably going to buy some stuff today to add to my PC and
What are
been
folks
looking
asking
for some
for, or
willies.
what's folks buying?
The first thing that walked by and asked, the kid was looking for a Herbert or Lawrence autographed cards. So that's what we know. That's what I know so far.
No
Um,
NASCAR, no F1.
no F1, no NASCAR yet. I left all my NASCAR at the house, man. I'm not selling that. That's all mine, especially skid marks. I leave
Yeah,
skid mark cards. That's at the house. I wasn't even going to bring that up here.
I saw
So
that Earnhardt. That Earnhardt you had.
that's probably yeah.
That was a nice one.
I don't know if that's me or if that's y'all. I'm on Wi-Fi on the hotspot phone, so I look like I'm doing all right, but it's probably not you. It's me. What's up, Chris?
So,
How are you this fine morning?
all right. Wasn't expecting to be on today, but
He's filling in.
alas, I'm like the David Brenner of the Tonight Show to this show.
You and me both, man. You and me both. I'm just here at a card show having a blast, man. So
So let me ask you: you saw the Thursday night break, the $1 million thing. What did you think?
I saw something.
You saw something, yeah.
What did I think?
Yeah.
Um,
So we had Kevin on, and he was talking about how uh, you know, all the value was, I guess, coming out of the cases, high dollar and kind of low production.
What did you think of the bikini models? What did you think of the antics of the breakers?
well, it was Vegas.
Presentation,
That's it was.
kind of low rent. Oh, hello?
I guess he's not hearing us.
No. All right.
All right. Well, trying to get some live reporting.
The perils of live TV.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see. Let me paste the link in the chat again. If anyone wants to come on, love to hear uh, either about the break or any other topic. I guess kind of get overshadowed with this here about I guess baseball's back. We have the
baseball
NHL
is
winding
back.
down, NBA winding down.
It looks like we finally got a street date for 2021 Big League Baseball. April the 20th. So 420.
And we're we are NASCAR folks. We're waiting for Dunrush to be released. It's about 20 days from now. So April tax day. Well, it's not April 15th, but taxes are 18th. But make sure everybody gets all their tax returns in with all their card.
Yeah. Let's see what else happened this week.
Well, we got. I know F1's back.
Formula One's back. Apparently, they're supposed to race in Saudi Arabia this week,
Yes,
but there was an explosion in Jeddah.
I missed that this
You
morning.
missed that.
Yep.
Let me see if I can get something up on that.
I know NASCAR. They're at in Texas at Coda. Um,
There's an
road
attack
course.
on an oil depot.
Yeah, no, I did not hear about that. Hopefully, everybody's okay.
There you go.
Let me add to the stream. Wow.
So the Saudi is expected to go ahead despite Formula One drivers raising concern on a missile attack at a nearby oil facility on Friday. Jeez.
Well, that's going to, the oh, your video's playing.
No. That's what we're made for. All right. There, background video.
Okay.
So.
All right, so they're still racing then.
Looks like they are, even though I don't think many of the drivers want to. So.
Let's see. I'm just looking through the chat here. Well, Rich Frank, he picked up his first Dale Earnhardt Senior rookie in the yellow number 3. Oh, okay. Awesome.
All right. Long Fly Ball says, what are our thoughts on Panini Prism WWE 1,500 a box with first off the line? What are the different configurations of Prism that'll be available? Yeah, this is going to be nuts because it's Prism. It's the first WWE product in Prism. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really familiar with what is in the product or what's not in the product, but it looks like this is going to be the biggest pro wrestling card release probably in years. Certainly bigger than the Upper Deck AEW set. So, but $1,500 for a hobby box. Oh man.
I'm trying to...
What do you get in there other than a couple of Prism parallels in a box and maybe an autograph?
Yeah, I'm looking on Beckett's site here. I'm trying to add the screen in. The 2022 Panini Prism WWE offers a colorful new beginning. That looks like they have the Color Blast.
Okay.
12 cards a pack.
Okay.
12 packs a box. 12 boxes a case. Size is 2 autos and 20 Prism parallels, I guess, per box. Oh, I don't know. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
Whole slew of
I'm just gonna have to cancel out of that here. Oh, we lost Chris here. Yeah, if oh, I just heard the ping here. He's back. All right, you're back.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Like I had some issues on my end, so.
Well, I wasn't sure it was mine or yours, but so on the Beckett site, it's like I said, 12 cards a pack, 12 packs a box, 12 boxes a case. Size to be determined. Release date is April 6, 2022. 2 autographs, 20 Prism parallels per hobby box. Is the configuration that I see right now. What's interesting, the autographs look good, and the color blast they have up there on Becky Lynch and then a few different other insert sets.
I still think $1,500 is a little pricey, but
Well,
I mean this is gonna the demand is there for it. So
yeah, I don't know what and I always know the first off the line is going to be more expensive, whatever. But does that make regular boxes 1,000 or? But that is just again, as a NASCAR guy, I just can't believe the prices. I'm not saying again it's not worth it or not, but I'm sure the cards are a lot more expensive than the NASCAR cards coming out of a $180 box of Prism. So
all right, another question: is anyone printing XFL this year?
yeah, I saw that. That's a great question.
I'm not even sure the XFL is playing this year.
USFL, right?
The
USFL.
USFL revival is in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I think the XFL has been pushed back to 2023.
The XFL.
So yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I'm now you say that. I think I heard that as well. But is anyway printing USFL?
I'm not aware of it. So
Yeah. So the Rich Frank was actually he had meant the USFL. Yeah, I don't think so.
I haven't heard anything of it. So
There's a lot of different leagues or stuff because there's SFX, FRX Racing. I don't think that's the league that Tony Stewart's starting up. I don't think they have cards either. So um, it's interesting
that's all like
if someone would pick them up or not.
yeah. Did Trump get a team? No.
So, and I have a question for you. So, USFL, does that breathe new life into the 84, 85 sets? Because some of the, I think the team names are the same.
Team names are the same. Does it breathe life into those box sets as opposed to what? I mean, the players in those sets aren't playing anymore. All those guys, those big rookies from those, well, I don't know if they even count as rookies. A lot of those guys are in the Hall of Fame now, and they're kind of I don't know. I don't think it affects it one way or the other.
Gotcha. If they're new collectors, that's all. Well,
maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
Do people even remember the other 84 and 85?
I remember the USFL because I grew up in South Jersey, and the original Philadelphia Stars were like the New England Patriots of the USFL. They went to the championship game each of their first two seasons and actually won the championship in '84. And they actually threw a parade in Philadelphia for the '84 Philadelphia Stars. So
That's
not
awesome.
as big as when the Phillies won or when the Eagles parade in 2008 or 2016, but they did throw a parade for them. So Durham Bulls Park next month.
I love the Durham Bulls being from Carolinas.
The thing with this USFL revival is that back in the 80s, there were only 24, 25, 26 NFL teams. So there was still enough talent out there to have NFL caliber players in a springtime league. I don't think that there's really enough talent now for one of the, especially you consider that this isn't the only other startup football league to sustain it. I don't think so. Even if USFL football cards do become a thing, you go back to, Topps really, there was the AAF a couple of years ago that played like half a season before they went bust. And Topps actually made a football card set for that. Who played in that league? Who's chasing a hot rookie from the AAF set? Topps actually made an XFL set a year later. Who played in that league? What's the big rookie card in that?
The only one that I know being in
don't know.
Carolina, there was one of the guys who had the "He Hate Me" on his jersey.
Yeah, that was the original XFL. I'm talking about the XFL that was revived a couple of years ago.
Yeah, gotcha.
Topps
Well,
did make a card set for that, and I don't even remember who played in it, to be honest with you.
So maybe does the USFL become like a minor league?
I think eventually it becomes something like what NFL Europe became, like a developmental place where you send like some of your low round draft picks off and play on a team somewhere in the spring.
I mean, I know they're using college football, but I guess once they get drafted, it's more professional, like minor league baseball. I guess I don't know, using that model or the model for hockey as well. After college, go to the minor leagues, and so maybe that's where it ends up eventually. And again, if these guys have cards, they do well. And be their first cards.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I guess time will tell, and you got to start somewhere. So USFL.
Yeah, maybe.
So
yeah, we're talking about the USFL. That's how desperate we are for topics this week. So give us a call.
Well, we
give
have
us something to talk about.
Be careful what you wish for. So.
Oh, all right.
What's up, gentlemen? I have heard nothing. I'm just jumping in. I did all my to-do list. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning, John.
So
what are we talking about?
So we were talking about Vegas, and we were just talking about the USFL.
Yeah, we were talking about the $1 million debacle that took place Thursday night. And what did you think? Did you see this, John?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch. What was it? 7 hours long. I didn't watch the 7 hours. So for me to come on and say I watched the whole thing, I'm not gonna lie. It was tacky in the very least. I mean,
that's a good word. Tacky.
I mean, but you know what? It's sort of a dichotomy where the hobby is right now. It's just sort of off the rail. Certain parts. Again, I don't want to paint the whole hobby with the same brush, but what I'm worried about is what I've heard a lot of other people starting to talk about. Is something I talked about actually probably a year or two ago. Is we're starting to see sort of this divide between this high end part of the hobby and everybody else. It's almost become two hobbies, and that high end is not new. There's always been very expensive cards, auctions that finish in 6 digits, if not 7. But we're really seeing sort of almost like two camps, where this higher end camp doesn't acknowledge the everyone else, and then everyone else has kind of disdain for that higher end. And I think it's gotten amped up a little bit, and things like this for sure don't help. That break, and again, it's America. You can do business any way you want to, but the buy-in, I don't know if you touched on this, guys, was for that break, was $40,000 a spot, with obviously no guarantee that you're going to get $40,000 worth of the cards. That's like any break, right?
Judging by some of the polls that were coming out, you did not get $40,000 worth of cards.
Yeah, and think about that. I mean, I can only speak for myself. That's slightly a little less than 1/3 of what my house is worth if I would have sold it. And people say, "Hey, I'll bet you my house," right? When they're really sure about something, right? That's 1/3 of this place. And to each their own. I don't know what the girls brought to the break itself, right? you're gonna get the cards, right? That's it. They don't come with the
Hope they
deal.
got
And
a
so
paycheck at least out of it.
they did. I would assume. I don't think they find cards that interesting, but I don't know. Maybe they're the biggest collector this side of Texas. But it's just I think it's sort of epitomizes where that high end it's all shock value, right? Look at me. How do I get attention? There's
Yeah.
a million
We're
breakers.
talking
So
about
how
them.
do I stand out, right? You got the two other clowns that look like they the LMFAO and their recording career is over. It's all sticky schlock. Look at me. You got guys taking their shirts off. To break. What that has to do with opening a box, a case of cards, I don't know. I don't buy into breaks, but if I did, I would prefer my breaker. Keep your shirt on, sir. Uh, don't need to see nipples, belly button, bellies, or anything like that. Just pull me something good. Send me my stuff as fast as you can. And so I think it was definitely a bad look. I know I don't want to speak for Sue's. I know she was not fond of it. I know a lot of other women in the hobby were not fond of it, and that's a growing uh, genre niche of the hobby, right? And it's awesome. But when we do, I guess whenever we do something, we really got to think sort of the ramifications of what we do. You know what I mean? And you had two separate breakers on that. You had Leighton and Blez, and then Leighton came out and tried to distance himself for it. And like I guess I don't know if I know he's in Vegas, but man, you can apologize all you want, right? You knew they were in the room. Like when you hit record or go live, right? You knew what was, they didn't like sneak in, right? That was all probably pre-planned. So like, I don't know. It's goofy, but it won't be the last thing. It's just the current thing.
Yeah, I made a comment earlier in the show. If you were a 35 to 40-year-old who collected cards as a kid, and you keep hearing that the hobby is cool again, that people are buying cards, and you stumbled upon this, is this going to make that guy say, you know what, I want part of that? Probably not. It's probably
Then
repelling
Yeah,
people.
well, I think some of it too, Chris. We've seen a lot of people in Hollywood get involved in the hobby, right? Actors, musicians, celebrities, pseudo celebrities, reality TV celebrities. So we've got that Hollywood aspect happening in the hobby, and then people who are not Hollywood are trying to be Hollywood, and so you
Yeah.
do stuff like that. You wear sunglasses in the house, just yeah, just sticky stuff. Like be yourself, like sell yourself. Don't sell unless you are an actor and you're on a movie set where you're playing someone else. Be yourself, and I don't know. It doesn't do nothing for me. I thought the apology after the fact. That what else has the hobby proven to us, Chris and Val? Right? You screw up, right? You screw up. I was almost said a bad word. You screw up. And what do? You apologize, right? And everyone forgives you because you have a million followers and you can screw up again. You say a phony baloney apology. It's all good. Maybe you lose some followers, but when you have a million, it's not a big deal. You get some new ones. You lost 60 that day and you added 100. So there's no accountability. This is an unregulated, uh, uh, you know, hobby. And probably I'm not saying I'm for regulation, but that's the nature of the beast. And when it will change. Someone asked me the other day. They sent me a DM like, when is this going to settle down and change and people going to act respectable? And I said, I got bad news for you. Until we talk with our wallets and our bank accounts and stop supporting people who do these things, if we're offended by it. Now, if you're not offended by it, then you're probably not going to change your where you spend your money on that. But if you are, and you don't do business But that's the problem. Is it's so big now that there's enough to carry a breaker, a company, a content creator through, even when they drop the ball. As long as they just come out with some sort of statement. My bad. We'll try to be better next time. That's all it takes now. It's like when you're a kid, right? You messed up, and you tell your parents, I'm sorry, and let's be real, right? A lot of times it's just 2 words to get you off the hook and out of trouble and get forgiveness. That's where the hobby's at with folks too. Sort of just 2 words, and let's do this again, and be good for a little bit, and do it again.
Well said. Well said.
I was just looking in the comments here, and then you were talking about, years ago, high end collectors 10, 15 years ago looked like high end collectors, dressed like them, and acted like them. New money, high end collectors. The last 5 years are they're called punks and flexors, and then Jenny Miller is it's definitely interesting the way these breakers are representing their business dress for the job you want, not the job you have right now.
And you know what? I want to say this too, because I have a couple sponsors on Sports Card Nation that are in the breaking element. Like, most breakers are like genuine, honest, good folks. Many of them, like, even if someone gets skunked, they send the buy-in person something a lot of times. Probably 95% of breakers do the right thing, look the part, professional, handle their business professionally. And then now you got this just off the rail segment. But the problem is that's what people see. And they sort of, I feel bad for the breakers doing it the right way, because they're kind of getting lumped in as a whole with these other ones. And not in all cases, but in some cases. And, my advice to them, just keep doing what you're doing, and, do it the right way. But, I don't know. I'm 49 years old. This is a different. I still love the hobby. I don't want to sound like I'm, this is a different era than in 1979, and it's going to be. I mean, we're talking 40 years ago, but some of it is just so schlock. I mean, it's like everyone wants to be the Howard Stern of the hobby, right? But here's the problem. Howard Stern, that is Howard Stern. That's not Howard Stern playing Howard Stern. That Howard Stern is being himself. That's why it works. And and a lot of people don't like Howard Stern, but it's not an act. That's who he is, and you either love him or you hate him, and probably no in between. But we got a lot of people just. I get it's a show. I've heard breakers say, "Hey, I'm going to put on a show for you." I like it. I like a little bit of that, but at the end of the day, right? What are we there for? The cards coming out of those boxes and cases, and we need to put the focus back on that rather than the breakers themselves. But it's not
So
going to
you're
change.
saying that a breaker whack pack or a breaker lesbian dial a date wouldn't work today?
No, we could throw cold cuts at a certain part
Yeah.
of the anatomy.
Baloney and who wants to be a
Well,
Turkish
I'm sure
billionaire? Or,
I'm sure that's coming, Chris. It just hasn't been done yet. That's on the list. That hasn't been done.
So what you guys were talking about the hobby and some other stuff, but Jenny Miller, is like, what have you guys been opening? And what what are your thoughts on some of that, or anything? I guess going on with your any hobby experiences, or been on any shows, or
I haven't opened anything in a while. I'm just sticking to singles. The Chantilly show in Virginia, Washington, D.C. area is next weekend. I will be there on Sunday. So if you see me, say hi. I'll probably have my book bag with the Hobby Hotline button on it. So if you see that, that's me. Like I said, I haven't really opened anything in a while. Mainly because new wax really isn't worth the money anymore. It's kind of been overinflated. So.
Yeah, I don't open as much as I used to. Like I say in my show, Chris Chris just hit the nail on the head. It's generally a losing proposition. Fun, but I did open a box of 2021 Bowman Chrome Draft, and I did get the number one pick. It was like a Henry Davis box, so I got a Ray Wave refractor, a couple other inserts of his, and not a bad box. But again, I don't open a lot. And show wise, I got my show. Well, it's not my show. I'm not the promoter, but the show I set up at next Sunday here in Syracuse at the New York State Fairgrounds, where the state fair here in New York is held. It's a show that's about 4 to 5 times a year, but actually, the first time in a long time they're doing it in back-to-back months. So I just did it about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Had actually my best show ever locally, my best Syracuse show in terms of sales, and not my best show ever. And so I'm curious to see how this show will be, because we just had one, to see if sales are still brisk. It's also the last fairground show until we get to October, so it's going to be the last one here locally for about 4 or 5 months. So I hope that bodes well for people coming out and spending money. And there's an autograph signer, more of a local guy, but some people might remember him from March Madness. Former Syracuse Orange basketball player Eric Devendorf will be signing autographs for free. So he's still in the local community, and so they got him to come out to sign some free autographs. So if you're anywhere in the central New York area or Syracuse area, and you want to take a short drive, that's next Sunday. 110 tables. I'll have 3 of those, and should be a fun afternoon.
Well, I'll say I've been picking up some singles like you, Chris. The of course the NASCAR stuff's super cheap. The case hit chasers, less than $20 a piece for like Jimmy Johnson and Logano. But I did go on ComC and did pick up. There's Earnhardt Senior sheet metal numbered. I guess that I don't know, for 200, I think it was. But one thing I did learn on ComC, and we talked about on NASCAR Radio podcast, was that I had a car that I had purchased for about $20, and so it was in there's the select service and elite service. So basically, it was a hockey card, and it had risen quite a bit in value. So I listed it over 100. And so that threw me into the elite category, and I was charged $2 for that on ComC. So I don't know if you're a ComC users or not. If you're just aware of it, it supposedly, not supposedly, you get a re-imaged card. I guess for that. But when you jump over 50 or 50 to 100, and then break from that 100 to more, you go into that elite service. So just bring in visibility to that, because I don't think it's documented well on their site, but just for folks to know that. I don't know if you guys do a lot on ComC or not.
Yeah, I sell on there, but not. I'm trying to think my biggest one card sale on ComC, probably about 75, 85 bucks. A lot of it's, anywhere from $2 to $50 cards if listed on there. But we got to send out the Uncle Rich signal there if you got any ComC questions there, Val. That's
actually, full disclosure, I did reach out to Rich, and he referred me to Stefan, and so we chatted, and that again is something, I guess, I don't know, it might be documented, but it's not. When you modify your stuff, sometimes you get notified that, hey, this is going to happen. So, but it's a good
So you got an
problem to have,
upcharge.
right? Yeah. So,
You got
but
an
it was a
upcharge
Chris,
like PSA.
but it was a Chris Kreider. So I bought a Chris Kreider for $20 back in the day.
Yeah.
And now he's 125, 150 or whatever. So young guns.
Yeah, I've got my team, man. I'm a huge Ranger guy. So, but Yeah, you got
Me too.
upcharged. Everyone's doing it. Cool thing to do now. All the cool kids are upcharging the collectors. Well,
Well, the other part though too is like your shipping is like 25 cents, but now I think if you go to Elite, now your shipping is $1. So you're paying $2 and then they're collecting $1 on the shipping whenever if it gets shipped home. So anyway, I didn't know if folks knew about that. Then another one that we found or I found out about because we do F1 as well on NASCAR Radio that there were some trading cards inserted in the Czech Republic Formula magazines back from 2003 to 2008. So some Lewis Hamiltons popped out as well. So they covered any racing league, F1, and motorcycle and some other stuff. So those are pretty cool to see. I always love when new, undiscovered, or off the mainstream stuff happens for the hobby. So we had a lot of this back in
Now,
the 80s and 90s, but
now, do people treat them like trading cards, or are they treated more like Sports Illustrated for kids trading those kind of cards?
I think it's going to be somewhat treated like that. We'll see. It's kind of early, and there's only been a few known examples right now. They're listed on the trading card database, so it's still in kind of the infancy stage to see if these will get recognized by the grading companies, and I guess put it in the bucket. But
I guess these are either perforated or
yeah, I think it's like
do you have to use the
8
scissors?
or 16. Yeah, I think they're perforated. And there's either 8 or 16 in a magazine. So there's some eBay auctions on that, and also in the F1 Facebook group for that. So it's pretty interesting.
there's a lot of stuff out there, Val. It's a great point that's either not very known or people have a hard time tracking the lineage of it. I'm going to actually show two cards. I don't show a lot of cards always on this show, but these are, I believe, from Czechoslovakia. They're from a chocolate company, and they are little. So the first one here is Joe Louis boxing. I believe it's from the late 50s, early 60s. I'll turn the back over.
Okay. Yep.
There you see. And here's this one is Dempsey, Jack Dempsey. And
Nice.
the back. And I do not like I acquired these. I tried to find out some stuff. I had a hard time finding them, anything about them. Actually, I didn't find much about them. And I mean, you're talking about something that's 60, 70 years old in Czechoslovakia, where, let's be honest, Joe Louis and Jack Dempsey, even though they may be known, aren't probably revered there as they are here. And so who knows how much of this stuff kind of survived 60, 70 years. And I mean, I even, Mr. Uncle Rich, who IDs all this stuff, I sent him this. He says, I don't know, man. Those, I have no idea about those. And so I'm sure there's other athletes or celebrities from that era. And I don't know the value. Like that's in my desktop case here. I don't even bring those to the show because, quite frankly, I don't know. I like them. I don't mind looking at them when I'm in the office here. I'm not in a rush to sell them, but kind of neat. And there's a lot of stuff like that out there, folks. And that's, whether it's a garage sale or through a bargain box somewhere, you never know when you're going to run into something like that. And, it's kind of neat and conversation pieces, if you will.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it was made me think of like the Red Heart, the dog food, and the potato chips for baseball. We had some Moffire meats. I think they were in hot dog packages for IndyCar back in the 60s. So, those, John, to your point, like the ones that I was talking about with the magazine, you got that as a magazine as an added. And and that's one of the reasons, like the 1972 STPs, we always talk about in NASCAR, that they were given away for free, so nobody had to buy them, and that wasn't the central point of you acquiring them. And then they might not to you have value, and they get thrown out because you didn't have to pay for them. So like with the top F1 Chrome or whatever, we talked about on the shows, like how many of those cards coming out of those $2,000-$4,000 boxes are getting put into penny sleeves and top loaders, as opposed to, the um, Sports Illustrated for kids. How many, when they got those magazines, as a kid, I would have like tore every one of them out and put them in the stack, and then you have them, and then over time you just throw them away because it was an add-on. It wasn't the reason you bought the magazine, or maybe it was, but you lost interest in it. So I think that stuff that is disposable. So one person once told me that the things that are worth money are the things that weren't necessarily, that are collectible now, that weren't deemed collectible when they were made. So
you never know. Like here's I know it must be show and tell because I'm breaking stuff out here, guys. But what I'm about to show you, these are prototypes. These were never released to the public. They're not cards, but they're like bottle caps. That's a Trout. They made teams. Arrieta, Josh Donaldson. There's a Yankee one. And what these were, Major League Baseball granted this company a license to produce these kind of bottle cap collectibles. These are metal. And then they made prototypes to like test the market. And they were supposed to be packs. They were going to make packs of these where you'd rip open a pack and you'd get 2 or 3 of these. They'd have a bigger set. They never made them. And so there's only like 9 prototypes produced, not 9, but 9 different kind of caps produced. And I acquired these, and I'm going to be honest with you. I look for them on eBay or other. I never see them again. So I don't, someone asked me what do you think they're worth, John? I don't know. I've been told many of them were destroyed when they realized they weren't going to market with the product. They just destroyed the prototypes. They're like, we don't need these anymore. They're metal. They just put them in like recycling bins. And so I don't know how many exist, but I will tell you this, every couple of weeks, I kind of do a search for them. I get nothing. So, just, stuff like that, you just don't know. And always look, and a lot of that stuff can be had for pretty cheap prices a lot of times. So, if you're not sure, and you sometimes just take a chance on it, especially if it's not a lot of money. So
yeah, sometimes that's the best stuff. There's a lot like that in NASCAR. You just stumble upon stuff. It's awesome, and because it's how you collect, right, and what you want to collect. And so yeah, I can't
Mark
do
Basically,
those.
Hoyle's
like to say, you do you, boo.
Right, yeah,
Right.
exactly. So I can't do those $40,000 breaks, but I can do
And you
$4
got
no
some
stuff.
no
bottle
Red
caps that
Sox.
were never
I'm
released.
answering Mark Hoyle's question.
Yeah.
No Red Sox. No Red Sox out of those bottle cap. I just looked. Josh Donaldson, Trout, Jake Arrieta. For some reason, they made a prototype, a Yankees logo. Boo. And who's the other one? I think that's it. Yeah. So, who is this? Yeah, Jake Arrieta. How he got in there, it must have been off that 1 year he had. But that stuff's out there. Probably not a lot of it, but that hunt is some of the fun, right? Couple questions I read. I wanted to touch on, guys, real quick. I know we're up against the hour. Jenny Miller mentioned Crack and Wax, and I don't want this to be an infomercial, but Crack and Wax as a breaker does it the right way, and every break percentage goes to charity. How about that? I'm a big philanthropy guy, so that shout out to Crack and Wax and Chris there. And someone else asked in the chat, when I was talking about regulation, do I want regulation or can it be regulated? I don't really want regulation to answer that question, but there are days where bad days in the hobby. Let's put it that way. Where like the thought pops in my head. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we need to regulate ourselves. If someone does something really asinine or terrible, and you don't like it, stop doing business with them. I guess in a way that's the self-regulation. The problem is not enough people wave that wand of power that they actually have. They just sort of blindly don't care. I think people don't care. I think because the thing has blown up with money, it's a money talks, and I don't care. And that the hobby sports cards are not the only industry where you can make that statement. That goes for a lot of businesses, industries, and hobbies. But that's where we're at. And one thing I do is I just try to steer clear of that stuff. I don't have time for that rabbit hole to go down. But some people like that stuff. I don't know. Maybe they don't have a lot going on in their home life and they thrive on that. But I'll pray for them that things get better where that's not such a priority in their life. But there's my little soapbox rant.
And speaking as somebody who works for a major government agency involved in consumer protection, I don't think we need a U.S. Department of Sports Collectibles.
Yeah, and that's
Be part
the
of the
thing, Chris.
gambling.
Yeah, let's say the hobby was to be regulated. Like who's in charge of that, right? Are they going to get
Well,
someone very
do you
experienced?
consider this a security
Yeah,
or an investment? Then maybe it's the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Or is it the gambling?
If you wanted to, if you wanted to create like a sports card style stock market, and there are
that's
things
been
like
done.
that exist,
That's been
why
done.
should you not be regulated like a real stock market?
Well, you got the pit. I know they're still around. I don't know how well they are or aren't doing.
They
Remember
are?
the pit? Yeah, they're
Ooh,
still around. They are
wow.
still around. So I know, free advertising. You got
There's
Star
a-
Stock, which is tried to be based on, kind of the stock market of cards, and there's probably a few other ones that I'm just not familiar with. It's like everything in the hobby, right? It's a copycat hobby. So once someone has a little success, everyone comes out of the woodwork. So, but
the thing too is that there actually used to be a regulator in the hobby. It was Beckett.
yeah,
That's how much power that they had in the 80s and 90s.
yeah, that's true. I
And
agree with that.
I think it says a lot about the lack of power that Beckett has now compared to then. So, and in the chat, I've been nominated by Long Fly Ball to be the head of the U.S. Department. It should be noted that Long Fly Ball is a Canadian, though.
Yeah,
So
but you got it. You'd like the Supreme Court judge candidate.
Yeah.
You gotta face the firing squad, man. They're gonna pepper
If
you.
nominated, I will not serve, though.
Well, then I definitely want you.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, I don't know. Just kind of give a shout out for Tuesday's show. Michael Moyhan, Sam from Sam Stuff, and Corey Yamwax will be on Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah.
And we still haven't gotten the schedule for next week.
For next month?
Next Saturday.
We have not. Yeah, no, I'm reaching out to Dr. Beckett to see his schedule, and then I've also reached out to a few other people trying to find their conflicts so I can create the master schedule and mix all the personalities together.
Canton Card Collector asked, "What am I drinking?" It's coffee this morning. It's early, so it's coffee for me. So,
all
right, Val, take us home.
All right, yeah, I'm reading some comments here. Somebody mentioned racing, so I was like, what? So sorry. All right, guys. Thanks everybody in the chat for coming and also coming on, and hope everybody has a great week. Check out Tuesday for another show. And any last words for any of you guys?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick. I don't want to make the show any longer. Enjoy the hobby. Any way you want. Do it above board. If you don't like something, speak with your wallet. Speak with your attention span. Whether it be a show or a breaker. That's the freedom you have, and don't let a few bad apples ruin the whole tree. So there you go.
All right.
We talked a lot about the $1 million break, but we really didn't get to talk much about the Mint Collective. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Anyway, keep on rocking in the free world.
All right.
See you next
There
time.
you go.
Yep, and if you interested in racing, check out NASCAR Radio podcast, or you can find me at NASCAR Radio on Twitter for all the racing stuff. So,
And
all right,
follow me
have a
on
great-
Twitter at Stillgum.
Sports Card Nation, Monday, Fridays, bookend shows, beginning of the week, end of the week. There you go.
All right, we're out of here.